Center.
Best spiritual director.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Gabe, Michael, Rena, Christy, Jesse. I think I got everybody. Thank you. And Lacey. Yes. How can I forget Lacey? Thank you. Huh? I said Gabe. I got it. I got them all. All right. Awesome. Wow. So much going on. So much is going on. We just had the solstice yesterday. We've got Merry Christmas coming up on Wednesday. We've got Hanukkah starting tonight. We've got Kwanzaa starting on a day after Christmas. We've got a lot going on. And all of it is coming to that divine awareness. Everything is about celebrating the holy light that we espouse here at Soul Center as an agape affiliate in the New Thought movement, where we charge our congregation, we charge you to step into your magnificence. We charge you to rise and grow into the Christ consciousness that belongs to and through and as you. You have it within you. Christ consciousness isn't something that was for Jesus the Christ, because we know he wasn't Jesus Christ as his last name. We know that he was a Christed being who rose in illumination to Christ consciousness, or you could call it the Atman presence or the Buddha nature, whatever you want to call it, that Christ consciousness that we all have, which means that we get to have the experience of being in the world but not of the world. We get to have the experience of heaven on earth. We get to have the experience of all good in every way, shape, and form. This is what we came here for. We came here for this grand adventure. We got character, costumes, and everything. We got, these bodies. This is the character you play on planet Earth. This is the role you got. But remember, that's not who you really are. The people who star in movies and television shows and plays, they don't go home personified by the character they played. They take off the makeup and the costumes and they become actually who they're not really. Because underneath that, there's something greater. There's something more magnificent. Layers and layers. That just gives you a nice metaphor of the layers of that reside underneath. As we're celebrating our month of joyful and triumphant, that's what we're here to be joy-filled and full and triumphant. That is the whole idea. That is the purpose of life, is to grow and glow. As you've heard me say before, we are here for two things. One, life can be looked at like in two columns. We can just take it out and put it on a piece of paper. You've got column A, which is thrive, live, grow, experience bliss, grace, beauty, heaven on earth through you, no matter what. And then you have this other column over here that's temporarily in use called healing. Healing is what you do when you're getting through your issues, getting those issues out of our tissues, allowing ourselves to get over unforgiveness, to get over issues that we have with erroneous ideas and beliefs of lack or limitation or mediocrity. We're to cleanse column B so that we can live fully from column A. And we go back and forth until column B is cleared. And then we move into a deeper and grander experience of the Christ consciousness. We move into that space and place. How do you do that? How do you do it? Some of it happens just by osmosis. Some of it happens just through your day-to-day. There's a part of you that is already experienced as you walk through life today. There's healings that are taking place. The miraculous is taking place 24 hours a day. Sometimes things just spontaneously take place. There's healings that take place and you're not even consciously aware of it. Just like you don't have to consciously think, I've got to breathe, I've got to pump my heart, I've got to okay, wait, which muscles do I need to make my legs move forward? And we don't have to sit there and consciously think. There's just things that happen. And so it is, I was musing over that song that comes up around the holidays, Silent Night, Holy Night. All is calm, all is bright, and it's in the calm, that's the topic for today, in the calm, all is bright. When you bring yourself into the calm, you will see the all bright of the light and the presence of God. But you must choose that. That is the gift and the curse, if you will, of free will and free choice. Free will and free choice allows us to choose to be separate from God, and we know that the presence of God, the omnipotence, the omnipresence, meaning it is all powerful, it is all present, No matter where you go or what you do, the presence of God is upon you. Whether you feel it or not, that's a whole different thing. It is omniamorous. It is love beyond your wildest dreams. And anybody who has touched the hem of the garment of the Christ consciousness of bliss, it is something that will a little bit short circuit the human experience a little bit, because it'll take you to higher and greater and grander experiences as you go into the calm. You'll get more done when you go into the calm and allow yourself to see the all brightness of the kingdom of heaven, which means meditation. You move into meditation, you move into prayer as a ceaseless way of being. It's not an activity like showering, it's not an activity like brushing your teeth or riding a bike or doing some sort of activity that is on a regular basis that you have to engage and interact. It's actually something that will evolve into an experience, an eternal experience of life to and through and as us. Ceaseless meditation and ceaseless prayer. In the beginning, we remember that prayer is a portal in the beginning. We use prayer to help us through things. We use it from the vantage point of the ego to some degree. When we're praying, we're using the prayer of inquiry to ask for providence. So remembering that in our community, as we're ascending into the Christ consciousness through the mechanism, it's kind of ironic, through the mechanism of free will and free choice. So we use that, so we're ascending into that consciousness, and we are choosing these activities. And so the portal of prayer is, in the beginning, used by the ego, and so we might choose using the prayer of inquiry to ask for help. We ask for help if we need help with a healing physically. We ask for help if we need healing financially. We ask for help. And we become available to receive that help, because I don't know if any of you have ever met somebody who's not a good receiver. Like you go to give them a present or something, or oh, no, you try to give them a compliment. Oh, no, I used to do that very much in spades. I used to, oh, no, don't worry about it. I'll take care of you, make sure you're happy. Meanwhile, deep inside, there was some worldliness stuff going on that needed to be cleared and cleansed within my own beingness. And so we want to become divinely receptive. How do we do that? You choose it. You say something along the lines of, I choose to be divinely receptive in my physical, emotional, and mental bodies to the deliverance of my own Christ consciousness. So we're using the prayer of inquiry to invite the energy. We want to ask for help, or we want to be shown something. Show me how. What is it like? Because right now, there are limitations that are being expressed within us and through us that we are completely unaware of. Some of them we're aware of. Some of us might be aware, I have a fear of heights, so it creates a limitation in my participation in activities. Some of us might be aware of those things. And then there's other ones that are so buried deep in our subconscious psyche that we've normalized them. We've just made it, oh, that's just the way I am. This is just what I do. Well, if it's limiting, or if there's lack involved in it, and if you've owned it, you've used free will to thwart yourself. You are thwarting yourself if there's certain things that said, oh, because of my gender, oh, because of my race, oh, because of my orientation, oh, because of whatever it is, that you can't go on to whatever, then you are thwarting yourself. There is nothing out in the carnal world, in the temporal world, that can slow you down or stop you from ascending into your own Christ consciousness except for you. And so well, since we're on the season of Christmas and Hanukkah, and since tonight's the first night of Hanukkah, and it's all about the miracle of light, and because Jesus, the Christ, was walking in Jerusalem during Hanukkah, the very season we're in right now, he was there during Hanukkah, and he was being tested by people who were asking him, how dare you? He was basically being brought to terms with, how dare you say that you are the Son of God? Because there were disbelievers. And so you were seeing in the story, in the Christian Bible, when they talk about this, that there are things that are going to come into your awareness, that it's not a test by the universe. The universe isn't trying to grow us or learn us. We're growing us and learning us. There are no tests that the universe gives to us. Sometimes we call these life lessons. The life lessons are simply, I chose to go this way. Oh, this created pain and suffering, and now I'm going to choose to go this way. The life lesson is to know the universe is so elegant and so expansive exquisite that it has put in all of these mechanisms to push you back into the divine inertia. It's pulling you back. There's a divine inertia that wants to pull you into the truth. It wants to pull you into grace, into beauty, into bliss. That is always happening, but we need to choose it. And so he's walking through Jerusalem as they're getting ready to dedicate the new temple. And so if you know a little bit of history, the first temple was destroyed, and so they had to build the new temple. And so oftentimes that happens in our own life. Something in our own life gets destroyed, and then we have to build anew. So the dedication of the new temple was going on, so he's in Jerusalem, and then you have some of his harshest critics saying, because of an erroneous misinterpretation of Scripture, it says right in the Hebrew Bible, born in the image and the very likeness of God. Well, what would that mean? So how could you not be the Son of God if you're born in the image and likeness of God? It doesn't even make sense. So they were kind of saying, how dare you, because that ego was feeling so threatened by his message. And his message simply was, these and greater things ye shall do. These are the things that ye shall rise up into in your own Christ consciousness. He never said he was the only begotten Son. That's an erroneous interpretation that comes later. He's the only way. He was saying, these and greater things ye shall do in your own life, that you shall rise up in your own Christ consciousness and defy and transmute your own lack and limitation. And so we want to be very cognizant that one of the mechanisms within our beingness are our desires. There are divine desires that are placed into your heart, Now we have to remember that there is this beautiful elegance that is orchestrated life. There's one of those elegant orchestrations that is an inertia that's pulling you into truth. Then free will, we get to resist it if you want to. And you'll know you're resisting something when there's pain or struggle or suffering. And so we want to open to that. These are the signs. The universe gave us this glorious, elegant roadmap if you check your user's manual. And the way you check your user's manual on how to live the Christ-conscious life in this world, in this body, is to turn within, to go into the calm and into the brightness. And into the brightness, you will access wisdom that is so much grander and glorious. And there's no fake news in divine consciousness. There's only the truth with a capital T. It's not like when you go on Google and you're searching for things and you might find some erroneous information out there. When you surf the divine web, you're searching through the truth that is going to help empower you and grow you. Now, I'm not just talking about this because it's some theory or idea. I've lived it time and time again. And so one of those things that happened to me, I remember the very first time I had one of my biggest, most miraculous experiences. For probably about 24 hours, I had a healing experience that it actually got me where I am right now, to be standing in front of you. This was the pivotal point, because in my old life, I used to be an executive in an advertising agency, and I was mired in worthlessness, even though I was successful, making a huge salary, taking fabulous vacations, doing all kinds of wonderful things. But inside, there was a deterioration that I wasn't aware of because I was sleepwalking. And so to some degree, all of us have a little area where we just write it off as that's the way it is. And so as I started to wake up, I had this miraculous experience where I felt the awe, the grace, and I moved outside of time and space, and for about 24 hours, I bawled, I cried, and all this energy, it released, all this pain, all this suffering, all this resistance, it released, and then afterwards, I was in this awe, this nirvanic awe of bliss. And at that particular time, I was absolutely kneeling before the altar of God, which means you kneel before the consciousness of God. You bring your consciousness into the vibratory field of the consciousness of God, of truth. And I was kneeling there, and I was like, oh my God, I am surrendered. I am yours. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. I will do whatever you say. And I was like, because I had felt it. I felt anointed. I felt transformed. And then about a week later, I was like, And that became a fading memory. And usually those things are pretty pivotal. When you have a miraculous experience, they will be pivotal and they will transform. But there is a big difference because I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've been in at the Agape Spiritual Center for just about 3/4 of that time. And so there, I've seen a lot of people come and go, matriculate. There's hundreds, actually there's thousands of people that matriculate through Agape. And some people come in, some people come through spiritual centers, and they have something, and then their ego kicks in, and then they think, well, and then they just kind of go back to the way things were. They let their daily routine, their daily choices, kind of their belief system, they let that dictate how they're going to thrive. And then there's people who say, you know what, I'm going to do the work. I'm going to buckle down, I'm going to knuckle down, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to surrender to the resistance that would say, oh, I don't have time to pray. Oh, they're not going to want to do this with me. Oh, I don't have time to meditate. I'm just going to, go ahead and then maybe we go to like a solstice celebration, or we go to a new moon celebration, or we do, kind of like what some religious people do at the high holidays. They show up just for the high holidays. And it's like, oh, I got my religious fix for the year, and now I'm going to go home. And I'm going to just go back to the way it used to be. Well, we don't espouse that in our community. We espouse and we charge you to rise into your magnificence and to cultivate it. And I'll tell you why. Do you want to know why? Do you want to know why we do this? Because it's the most magnificent bliss you will ever experience. It is better than anything, any drug, any activity. It is better than anything because it expands you and you move into a multidimensional awareness. And the new science about this is fascinating. There's a lot of research and a lot of study, and they're doing brain scans and they're tapping in, they're just beginning to find out that the power, size doesn't matter, because where I'm going here is the pineal gland. The pineal gland is about the size of a rice kernel, and it's in your brain. And the way it activates, it's a portal. It's a portal between seeing out here and seeing with the divine. And so there's these natural circadian rhythms coming back to the perfect blueprint of what God has established as the most elegant, exquisite expression of bliss. In that, you get to, this is what we know in our teachings. We know in our teachings that, what it said, it's almost cliche. What you perceive, what you and believe, or what you believe is what you're going to perceive. What you truly believe, not what you want to believe, not what you think you believe, but what you actually believe. That's the mechanism of the human experience that can really mess around with us. What you truly believe, and you'll know what you believe by just taking a gander out into what's going on in your life. So if you're experiencing a lot of cooperation, then you've got some pretty good beliefs about cooperation. If you're experiencing a lot of prosperity, then you've got some good beliefs about prosperity. But if you're not, then there's certain parts of our lives, and let me tell you, if you're experiencing this much cooperation in your life, then glory to glory to glory is going to take you to this much and then even more. If you're experiencing radiant wellness in your life here, then if you continue to grow and glow in this light, you won't experience some of the effects of aging. When if you allow yourself to move in, if this is what your prosperity is, you can go even further. Remembering that prosperity is not only financial freedom. Prosperity is so much more. You're prosperous in kindness. You're prosperous in goodness. You're prosperous in wellness. You're prosperous in financial freedom as well, because we know that money is a secondary energy. It's just a means to an end. And it is our consciousness behind that. And as we align our consciousness with the Christ consciousness, then we start to embody that. And everybody, and this is the other part, everybody is hardwired, coded and loaded with everything you need to feel, see, hear, interpret, and understand the language of truth and the language of God, should you choose to be still and know that I am. To know that I am, so many people make it so much more difficult than it needs to be. It's super easy to be calm, although at times, when we're in situations of stress, when you feel pressure, when you feel urgency, those are signs that we're straying away from the divine and that we want to start bringing ourselves back. So we want to be aware of a few things. One thing is, you don't want to earn or have money given to you. Most of us think, well, if I just had the money, that would be great. So you don't want to be subject to the idea that you have to earn or have money given to you. What you want is the consciousness that holds that and circulates it generously and abundantly. That's what you really want. You don't want someone to praise and love you, because people praise and love people all the time, but they don't let it in. You want to humbly embody that you are worthy of being loved. You want to humbly embody, that's a choice you want to make. I want to know what it's like to be loved and appreciated and adored. That's what you want to know. You do not want to be just healthy. Healthy is great, but you want to embody divine vitality physically, emotionally, and mentally throughout every fiber and cell of your beingness. That's what you really want. It's getting to, we are a principled community. And so whatever the ego would want, you want to follow that to the spiritual principle back of it. And then that becomes what will bring your desire into fruition. If you follow whatever you think you want, and you connect with the true desire by following the thread to the principle, the spiritual truth, like one of the principles is, God is ever-flowing, never-ceasing, eternal life, abundant and good beyond your wildest dreams. So if you were to zero in on the opulent part of that, or the abundant part of that, God holds nothing back. There's no such thing as, well, I don't know, you've been good, but I don't think you're going to be prosperous because, just for you, we're going to leave it out. You did some things, and, I'm a harsh, unforgiving God, and so you're not going to get anything. Oh, you've got to learn this lesson. Revelation is the quickest way to understand anything. Revelation means you get still, you be still, and you know that I am, and you connect with your desires. So everybody should have received an ornament when you came in. It's either a kind of a silvery or a goldy colored ornament. And one of the highest and greatest ways to activate your good is to bless other people. And so on one side of the ornament is a blessing you would like to bestow on somebody else. And so in a moment, we're going to go through the exercise. It's going to be very short. And we're going to think of somebody that we would like to bestow a blessing on. And we want to bring it into an eternal, divine, holy vibration, which just means you're going to go into your heart. Your heart knows, it's not difficult. And then on the other side, after we move into that vibration, we're going to move into something that you would like to receive for yourself. And after we're done with all of that, as you've completed your ornament, we're going to bring them up here and we're going to decorate the tree. I don't know if they'll all fit on this tree, but if they do, and there's a little hole, all you have to do is kind of put it there, and you can even get creative and put it on that tree too. And we're going to have your desire, your prayer request, and your blessings bathed in this energy. We're going to bring these with us to Campus Jacks next week, and they'll be there for our New Year's celebration. And so I just want you to go ahead and take your ornaments. Some of you might have already started filling it out, and that's okay. And we'll come back to that in a moment. And if anybody needs a pen, just we'll try to get you one, or borrow your neighbor's. But I'm going to ask you to first take your ornament and bring your ornament up to your heart with your hand. And we're going to take the efforting and the figuring out of the equation. Because there's no efforting and there's no figuring in the mind of God. There is only a knowingness and a wisdom and a love that transcends the human intellect. And I want you to just bring your awareness to something you're grateful for that has happened in your life, whatever comes to your mind, a miraculous moment, something that you are grateful for. Just hold that in your awareness as you hold your hands and your ornament on your chest. And as we move into that field, that vibratory, potent field of creation, gratitude, thanksgiving, appreciation, I'm going to invite you to bring your awareness to the highest expression of love, the highest expression of God that you can imagine. Maybe it's one you've already experienced, or maybe it's one that you'd like to experience. But just bring your awareness to the highest expression of God, of love, of the divine, of beauty. Just bring your awareness there. We're coding and loading this energy into this piece of paper. And now I'd like you to bring someone into your awareness that you would like to bless. It could be one person, it could be more, but just at least one person that you would like to bless with anything you could imagine, any blessings at all. Wellness, prosperity, joy, peace, love, self-love, cooperation, whatever it is. Just bring to your awareness that which you would like to bless upon somebody else. And then I would like you, when you're ready, to think of something that you would like to receive for yourself. A blessing, an answered prayer. And as we move into this field, when you feel ready, I'm going to invite you to just bring your ornament down and fill out on the one side a blessing that you would like to bless upon somebody. And then on the other side, and I want you to phrase it, the one for yourself, I accept, and then fill in the blank. I accept for myself, and you might want to include the verbiage in benevolent, beautiful, and immediate, immaculate ways, and then fill in the blank. I accept for myself, and put that on there. We're bringing something from the invisible. This is the law of creation in action. You're bringing something from the invisible to the visible and the tangible, which is your paper. And we're putting omni-active energy into it. And we're going to pray ye believing that this is done. This is what it means to accept your prayer. You accept it. Pray ye believing is what we're doing. And we've been ginning the pump here. And as soon as you feel ready, I'm going to invite you to just at your own time, in your own way, to bring your ornament up here. While we're doing that simultaneously in silence, I'm going to do our closing prayer. And then when we're concluded with the ornament portion, we will close out the service. But we're going to do our closing prayer right now. As you're writing, we're going to be in a field as we stay in a lucid state of divine awareness, a field of infinite grace, infinite beauty, omniamorous, omnipotent, the very light, the very love of God. We know that this light, this love, that is so elegant, so brilliant, and so beautiful, that has been embodied by many of the masters who have walked this earth. Many people that have walked this earth, that have taken the journey of enlightenment and divine adventure, meaning that everything they do, every conversation they have, everywhere they go, they bring the presence. Spiritual mastery, surrendering into our divinity. I am truly grateful in this moment. Truly grateful to know that each and every one of us, as we open to the awe, the grandeur, the magnitude, the plenitude of the Holy Spirit of God, that presence is right where we are, in our toes, in our nose, and everywhere in between. God is in all cells, all bones, all tissues, in all situations and circumstances. We may return to the beginning through the portal of prayer. And so we return to the beginning right here, right now. We return to the beginning, and we allow ourselves to be so overwhelmed with peace, so overwhelmed with joy and love, so overwhelmed with prosperity and wellness. We open into this fertile field, that fertile field that we are one with. There's no place, no space we could ever go where God is not. We open into a space and allow ourselves to bathe in the energy of benevolent satiation and divine fulfillment, for these energies are waiting for our call. We are to call upon the energy of benevolent satiation and divine fulfillment, which readies us to receive the answers to our prayers, knowing that each one of us is journeying into a space, into a place of ceaseless prayer, ceaseless divine awareness. And so I'm truly grateful to know that as we put our intentions, our prayers, and our blessings on these pieces of papers, that we are decorating. We are decorating. To decorate means we are spending and shedding beauty into the world. And so these prayers, these intentions, are to shine beauty, the love and the beauty of God into the world. So we bring them up, we place them in a space of divine right receivership, knowing that it is God's good pleasure to bring forward the kingdom of heaven to, through, and out our lives for each and every one of us. We bathe in confidence, faith, and optimism, knowing it is already done in the mind of God. We open to the highest, greatest, and grandest vision and version of this, better than we could ever imagine from our surface mind. That's why I'm truly grateful to know that as each and every one of us surrenders into our own power, the power of the presence of God as our own unique, individualized, divine Christed selves, that we step into grounding heaven on earth, and that this is the season of peace. It is the season of introspection and reflection on truth and love and grace, the very nature of God. And so I'm grateful to know that each and every one of us is entitled to and deserves the very best, and we claim it in a place of divine right receivership, knowing it is done, accepting it to be in our experience benevolently, elegantly, beautifully, and we claim it, we proclaim it, we declare it, we own it by saying, so be it, and so it is, Amen, 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 Aho, Ashe, Shalom, Hotep, and Hallelujah. And the ushers are coming forward as we continue to shed our blessings and receive our prayers. And so we just take a moment once again. If you're streaming in online, I invite you to go to soulcenteroc.com and scroll over to the donate button. Please donate in this end of the year time. We are raising funds for the expansion of Soul Center. You can also text to donate. You can text to donate. I should have this number memorized, but it's area code 669-342-2157. You can text to donate anytime, remembering that as we move into our conscious tithing time, that this is a time of circulation, participating in the circulation of benevolent abundance and financial freedom. We know that God is our source and our supply, and we are truly grateful for all the tithing that comes forward that pays for our rent, our facilities, the expansion into our beautiful building as it comes into form. We allow it all to be in gratitude and thanksgiving. Thank you, Usher.